to Hermit Woods, where there's a story in every bottle. Cheers!
Cheers!
It's Monday night.
Monday night.
Yet again.
And we're drinking again.
Live.
Drinking is not a bad thing
It's
on
a
a Monday.
good
Drinking
thing.
again. Hi everybody out there. Thank you again for joining us for yet another Monday night. We really appreciate your company. Thank you for being here. And if you are here, we'd love it if you'd let us know. Mention your name in the comments so we know that you're watching. And if you're enjoying a beverage with us tonight, let us know what that beverage is so we can talk about it. And if you have any questions while we're on air tonight, please feel free to type those questions in. We're watching the questions come in live, and I will bring as many of them as I can to the conversation.
Sweet.
And we'll get answers to you as quickly as we can. If you don't get to your questions on the show, we'll get to them after the show, don't worry. And also, if you're new to the show, we'd love it if you'd subscribe. Right below Ken's feed on the YouTube page is a subscribe button. Just hit that and you'll subscribe to our channel, and you'll get notified whenever we go live anywhere in the world, which will be likely here every Monday night, and then maybe on a ski slope somewhere, or in the middle of Narragansett Bay, or in the woods somewhere. I don't know, whatever. We kind of mix it up every now and then and find ourselves in all different places. And if you're on Facebook, there's a little bell. You can hit the bell and you'll go live on our Facebook channel. You'll get the same notification if we go live. So. Also, if you like the conversation that we're having here on our show, we'd love it if you'd like the broadcast, and even better, share it with your friends and family who you think might enjoy the conversation that we're having. That would be awesome. And I think I've covered the whole preamble, and amazingly, Ken hasn't said a word for the whole time.
I haven't. You've been, making sure that I don't do that. I've been trying to be good. Thank you.
Right on.
But I would say, is it appropriate to say we would love it if you like it, or should we say we would like it if you like it?
Oh, we'd love it if you like it.
I think
We would absolutely love it if you like it.
Love it if you like it.
Wouldn't you love it?
I don't know. Like might be a stronger word when you're dealing with like.
No, I think.
Oh, that's
No,
just
love
confusing.
is
Yeah.
Love is the
deeper.
strongest
Yeah,
word.
love is
in
the
the
strong word.
universe.
I think.
Love is
We
the-
would love it if you like it.
Okay.
Yeah.
We would like it if you like it. Makes you sound like I'd be okay
It's
with
all
it.
right.
Yeah,
It's okay.
yeah, thanks.
We would love it if you liked
Yeah,
it.
it's like the
Okay.
word "sure." It's like a non-committal kind of thing.
So everybody,
Sure.
now that we've figured
Sure.
that out,
Yeah, I'm
we
sure
would
about
love
that.
it if you like our
Very good.
broadcast today.
Good.
And today we are so excited. Today, you probably, if you've been watching us at all, you have heard the preamble to the show. Kaylon Sweet, otherwise known as Sweets, who is joining our team. We're so excited. He's going to be running our kitchen. We've already had a taste of things to come. Oh, you guys, you are in for a treat.
I mean, I'm sitting here salivating, just smelling. I don't even know what he brought up.
A
But
snack.
It's aromatic.
I
It's
brought
aromatic,
up some snacks.
flavorful. It's
Oh,
just
it's
wafting up.
fantastic.
It's got all these
Snacks
different.
on
I've never smelled the kitchen smell the way it did
Quite
today.
like it did today.
Yeah, it was fantastic.
It's
It's
fantastic.
gonna,
So
it's gonna
creating
smell
all
great
sorts of
tomorrow. It's
stuff.
gonna be smelling great on a regular basis.
And
Things will be cooking.
give you a little background. First of all, we've known Kaylon for many years now.
Oh.
We've,
Yeah, we
crossed
met at
paths
local
many different
eatery.
times.
It's been about
10 years
7.
ago?
Well,
Yeah.
it's like 7 or 8, I think.
Yeah.
I've been up in the area for 10, but I worked for the Common Man for the first part of it. We don't
okay.
talk
we
about
met
it
you at the
too
local
much, but you met
eatery.
me at local.
We'll do this quick because we're going to get in, deep dive into this. But we met at the local eatery, and then we've crossed paths in many different places along the way. In fact, at one point, Kaylon actually consulted with us. He came through our kitchen to help us think about how we can make the kitchen
More efficient.
efficient.
Yep.
And that was very helpful 3-4 years ago. And
Was it
So-
you that came up with the concept of the dumbwaiter?
No, I don't know. I don't think that was me.
Okay.
Because this wasn't.
I forget where that
When I
came
came
from,
through,
but
this was still
under
Under
construction.
ideas.
It was under. It wasn't even under construction. It was under ideas.
The dumbwaiter
Yeah.
actually came, Ken, because we realized early on in the construction that having servers go up and down those stairs
No, I
competing
know,
with customers
yeah.
was going to be a non-starter. There
But
was
we
no way.
we didn't discover that until partway through the project.
But more or less because of just thinking it through.
Just thinking it.
Yeah, we thought it through and we realized what a nightmare it would be to have everybody bringing dishes and food up and down those stairs while customers are coming up and down those
Right.
stairs. It's too tight.
Oh no, we definitely have used it.
I think we should call it a smart waiter because
Smart
it's a
waiter.
smart decision versus.
That's
know.
a good point. How did
Such
they
a
come up with this
derogatory
dumb
term.
I mean, like
waiter?
The
when they
dumb
say
waiter.
dumb waiter, because it probably means that there's no thought process put into it. But to install that
Well,
and to
with-
work with it, a lot of thought process
Well,
has to go in.
with AI, it
Yeah.
might actually be a smart waiter.
It might be a smart
It
waiter.
might be a really smart waiter.
An intelligent waiter.
Yeah.
The smartest waiter. Genius waiter.
Will there be like dumb AIs?
Oh, I hope so. Man, I just picture like there's the one artificial
I mean, there's
intelligence.
smart waiters and they're dumb waiters. Will there be
Yeah.
smart AI and dumb AI?
Well, it's like same with like your friends. There's always the one dumb friend in every group. Sometimes I'm the dumb friend in a group. Other times I'm not the dumb friend, and you're like, I think AI is gonna need somebody like that because
Right.
it's just gonna have to rag on somebody.
Well,
from time to
I
time.
got to tell you, there is already a dumb AI.
Is
'Cause-
there?
Yeah, because
Yes.
I've put in some. I've showed you the AI tool,
Mhm.
Chat GPT that
Yeah.
I use, right? And I put in some copy in there and asked it to improve it, and I've come back with like, oh, really? You think that's better? Than
That
what
was
I just
that
wrote?
was an improvement right there. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
All right, so let's get into this. Well, first of all, let's see who's joined us. We got Priscilla with us today. Hi, Priscilla. Great to see you. We have Matt
Priscilla.
Danette. These are some, just for your knowledge, these are some of the folks who generally join us
Oh, nice.
almost every week. We're really glad to see them. It's really nice
Right.
to have them
Hello.
as part of the conversation.
You will meet them
Karen
all.
is
You
here.
will
Nice.
meet them all physically.
Yes,
They
and all these
they
folks,
come
all
here
these folks
often.
are our club members, so they'll be coming into the winery on a regular basis.
Fantastic.
But
Can't
we'd
wait
love
to meet
see you all here and to be part of our conversation. And please, again, if you have questions, let us know. See, so actually, Priscilla, what I say, now you'll be working with the uncommon men.
Yes.
The uncommon man,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yes.
That's
You got it, Priscilla.
I think that's
You nailed it.
That's
Oh,
you.
Geraldine's here too. My wife, Geraldine.
Oh, nice.
Geraldine,
I
she's
have.
here.
Hello.
Hi, Geraldine. All right, so let's get into this. So I'd like to know. I just want to start this off,
Mhm.
and actually, you shared your bio, which I put some pieces of in. This,
Oh, yeah.
In this conversation, and I was fascinated because your bio took me to a whole other place. Like, wow, this is somebody I don't actually know that I
Oh.
know. So tell us where you started, where you were raised, and then you
Like
did
in
some
life.
traveling.
Yeah, in life. I mean, like I guess the quick pictures. I was born in Tennessee. At 10 months old, we moved to Japan because my dad was a Navy guy, and that's where I grew up. From 10 months old till 9.5, I was in Japan.
Wow, what part?
Misawa, so
Yep.
northern part of the island. I've met, I think, 2 people in my entire life who know where it is, and they're like, "Yeah, no," and I'm like, "Wow, that's cool," But it's a small little Navy base, and like we were always off site. Like with my mom and dad were really adamant about us being involved in the culture. So like we got really involved in the culture, which was great. We had a lot of off-site based friends, and I think like almost every other weekend for sure, if not every weekend, most of the times we were off base hanging out with other people.
Did you learn Japanese?
No, I was when I got there. Westernization is still kind of a thing,
Yep.
and so a lot of our friends, we would speak English with the kids because like the kids, they wanted the kids to learn English. But what ended up happening is like kids, we'd made like our own kind of way to communicate. So it was like part English, part Japanese, part signing. Like it was just we were just kids hanging out.
Yeah.
My mom learned a little bit. My dad did not. All he does mushi mushi. He knows a few things, but like just stuff that you shout when you walk into a place. So, mushi mushi. Like he knows how to do that. And like, but
What's that mean? What's that?
it's like hey, so it's like like that. Like in Cheers, Norm, hey everybody, it's like that. Like
Okay.
you walk in, everyone's like, "Hey, it's good to see you."
Hey, everybody.
Mushi mushi.
So I can't help but tell the story. So this was at a Japanese, this is a sushi place up in Toronto. My wife and I went to Toronto
Yeah.
about 10 years ago, and we were told you got to go to this sushi place, right? So we find our way, we've never been in Toronto before, we find our way to this little hole in the wall. There's just like a brick wall with a door. No, not even really a sign. Just,
means it's
just
gonna
enough
be
to
good.
know, right? Yeah.
That was good.
So
those places can be good.
Geraldine and I, it's like 10 o'clock at night. We walk in the door. The entire restaurant stood up, faced the door, and applauded.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Talk about having your mind blown.
different experience altogether.
It
I mean, like
very
it.
much so.
I mean, like when you go. I mean, like we used to when I was a kid. Like my mom and I liked Japanese food, so like we'd go off base, and like that was a special thing for us. Is like we go and it was and the dingiest place you could think of. Like I have a hard time going to a sushi place that's well lit.
Yeah.
Like it should be dark. It should smell like old cigarettes and like stale beer, and like the cook's in the back like smoking a cigarette while he's like cutting up your squid. Like, yeah, that's what I want. I'm like that guy actually cares about what he's doing because he's probably like on his 10th pack of the day to stay awake so he keeps serving people. You know, like that's like we go and I get a Coke, I get cheesy gyozas, I get squid, and my mom would get like a couple sashimis. And that was our thing. We'd go out, do that, and then go home. And like that's kind of like
And this is like before you were 9. Like
yeah,
when
it was
you were
like
9
it was
years
like
old.
6, 7.
Eating sushi.
Yeah, eating
Japanese.
sushi and like this dingy Japanese
Yeah.
like. And case in point, like I have a hard time being like, oh, I know this really great sushi place. I'm like, you probably don't.
Right.
You know.
This is like me with fish and chips. I went to England and I spent a week there. I ate fish and chips for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I think it was amazing.
So damn good.
It's so
Yeah.
good. You cannot. Everybody, same thing here. Say, oh, there's a great fish and chips joint over
No,
there.
there
and
isn't.
everything.
No. It's
No.
like pizza after you've been to
Been
a
to
couple
Italy.
good places in
Oh, yeah.
Manhattan.
Right, like
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
I mean, like I was like, it's like any like, oh no, this is it's okay. Yeah, yeah. It's like you went and watched the movie on IMAX, and then someone's saying that this straight to DVD or straight to
Yeah.
VHS is a better.
Yeah.
The Sandlot
That's a
2
good
is
analogy.
yeah. I watched The Sandlot. It's a classic. It's awesome. Well, The Sandlot 2 is better. That didn't even make it to theaters, bro. That went straight to DVD. And you try to find that on Disney Plus, it is hidden in the bowels because they're even like, this sucked. You know? So I have a hard time eating certain things like when I've gone places.
So 9 years old, you left Japan. Where'd you go?
We went to Brunswick, Maine, which was a very hard town to break into. Yeah, so like we went and it was like growing up, there was no judgment. You were who you were. Like no one cared. There was no like this is the cool clothes to wear or like whatever. And then we moved to Maine and it was just like I did not fit in. Period.
No, isn't that where
Yeah.
we visited?
Yeah, Brunswick.
I did a triathlon there once too.
Yeah, that was
right.
where
Yeah,
that's where we hooked up with Sandy and went
Sandy,
out to
yeah.
Costco Bay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right there.
It's a
Sailing.
beautiful
Beautiful
area.
town,
Yeah, it's a nice area.
Fat Boys, my old acquaintance friend of mine, Kara Stadler, she's got Tao up in Brunswick. She's been up for a few James Beard Awards.
Yeah, it's got a nice little town, and then it gets
There's
really
Bowdoin
rural.
College.
Ag, right out
Couple
uptown.
nice breweries.
Yeah, well, that's new. The breweries are probably new to when I was.
It's pretty new everywhere.
It was cool. There was Borders. There was a Borders book store. That was like the cool thing. Like, oh, there's Borders book.
Probably not there anymore. Right?
No, it's not. Borders bookstore and Fat Boys. And Fat Boys was like you drive your car up and they skate out to you. And they-
Really?
Yeah. Oh, like the old school. I think they still. Fat Boys is still there. Last I heard.
Wow.
But,
So Brunswick till
Brunswick for 4th, 5th, and 6th grade. And then we moved to Illinois, which was another huge culture shock,
wow.
for 7th and 8th grade. And then we moved back east to New Hampshire for high school. And then after high school,
Where?
like Hudson, New Hampshire.
So this is all military. Your
No,
dad's
my
moving to
dad
different
my
places,
dad
or-
retired after Brunswick.
Oh,
So they didn't want us doing his final station overseas. So like he kept us. It's hard to keep a single station for more than 2 years. Like they'll send you to Germany, they'll send you all over the world, but it's 2 years.
2 years.
But we stayed in Japan for like 8 and a half,
Yeah.
9 years, and like only because his 20 years were up, did they move us back to Brunswick for him to finish out? Because then we're stateside. You know, like
What's his specialty?
oh, he's an engineer.
Yeah.
I mean, like to me, he's an engineer. I wish like I had a better idea or understanding of what he did, but he's an engineer, and worked on top secret government projects when
There
he
you go.
like before he retired. That's what he was doing, top secret government stuff.
Yeah.
So I have no idea. I know he's very smart, but then we play like a game of Rummy Cube together, and I'm like, I thought you were smart, man. like
There's different kind of smarts.
Yeah.
you know?
Oh yeah. I mean, like the program, like his job before he retired was someone would be like, hey, here's a military program I put in place, and like it's super classified. And so someone's come up with something that doesn't exist, and so they create this thing. Well, someone has to create programs to test all this stuff. So he's creating tests to see if something will pass or fail, while trying to put it through its parameters.
Right.
Something that doesn't exist. So I'm like, so he's a very smart guy.
Yeah.
But then again, like he can't make his own Keurig cup of coffee.
Well, that's like my wife Geraldine's father. He's like one of the people who founded or invented the initial tools to run cell phones and internet and all that stuff. He worked for Bell Labs. Brilliant guy, and today struggles using his iPad.
Oh yeah.
A simple tool with it. But it's just not his thing.
Yeah.
He's still brilliant. He came in the other day, he visited us, and he fixed our TV, took it all apart, and found a little capacitor on our TV that wasn't, working properly, and he switched it out. And he can't use his iPad, but he can take a whole TV apart.
Take a TV apart and fix it in 5 seconds. Yeah, no, it's crazy, but yes, that's what he did for forever. My mom was a stay-at-home mom for my entire life.
Awesome.
So like that was a really great thing. Like, so we always dinner every night as a family. Like,
Siblings?
I have a brother. We don't talk, but I have a brother.
I have one too.
Yeah. So, but my mom and dad and I are still really close. Pretty much talk to my mom every morning. My dad too. Like they're both. My dad's retired, so my mom is also retired. I've said, I'm like, you're retired from. You're
Being a stay-at-home mom.
Yeah, being a
From
stay-at-home mom. I'm
After
like,
the
you're
kids
on
move
your own
away,
now.
right?
Oh, yeah,
I mean,
yes.
aren't they
oh yeah, you're on your own. Figure it out.
de facto
yeah.
retired?
Yeah, so she, but like they've always been huge supporters and like for what I want to do and things like that,
So when did the food?
Yeah, that's
Ooh, the
yeah,
food
When did
thing.
you start making food?
I mean,
When did that transformation from enjoying food, going to places, to finally going, oh, I can do that?
I was at a very my house was very healthy, so like I've always been drawn to non-healthy things because they're better, they taste better for a reason, hey, you can have this banana, or you can have banana toffee banoffee pie. That's way better. Well, there's no argument there. Like, oh, here's this banana. Yeah, it's gonna make me live a little longer, but at what cost? Right. So like I
You could eat just straight kale. That'd be
oh
great for
God,
you.
no.
But no, you
When
could do
someone's
some
like,
other
"Hey,
stuff.
try this kale chip," and I'm like, "I'll go just smell dog turds. Thank you very much. I'm good. Why take something that sucks and like turn it into something that should be good? It's gonna suck more. Sorry, any health people out there. Kale chips suck. But I mean, so at home, I quickly try to figure out the things that I could have fun and enjoy eating. Like, how can you enjoy eating a turkey dog? I'm like, well, if I split it in half and stuff it with cheese and microwave it, yeah, that's good. So like very simple things, but like stuff that I would eat. Because I'm not small as you can see, but I used to be very, very small. So it's just like more of like necessity, like I need fatty things to like get bigger. And then I was just like, even when I moved out of the house and like had my own places and whatever, I never really cared too much for cooking. I went to college, dropped out, and I did a lot of things. And I don't know what started it. I think I saw a Food Network. I saw a Jamie Oliver show, and I was like, oh, he looks cool. And like it was him cooking at his house, and he had this huge garden. And so like I got his book, and I started like trying to like try some things out. But it was McDonald's. It was actually working at McDonald's that like was what kicked this all off. Yeah.
So you said that in your bio. Which McDonald's, by the way?
It was McDonald's in Hudson, New Hampshire.
Hudson. Okay.
It's right next to the Hannaford. It's my.
How long?
When I dropped out of college originally, I got a job there.
How long were you there for?
First time I was there for about like 4 months, 5 months.
Yep.
And then, so between like 18, 19, and 22, 23, McDonald's, Olive Garden waiter, short order breakfast cook, UPS truck driver, apprentice butcher, juvenile delinquent camp counselor. I've done every single job one can do on a summer camp. built log cabins, which is why one thumb is shorter than the other. My carpenter's license, as my dad says, took it off with a table saw, and then back to McDonald's because I had no education. So but the best job I had was building log cabins. The guy I worked for lost all of our work. It was my first gig, so no one would hire me. And so I went back to McDonald's and I worked the night shift. I started off on the day shift, but immediately was like, please put me in the night shift because like teachers would come from my old high school for the lunch break. And because I was like, I could speak English, they put me up at the window. And I'd be like handing stuff out. And I remember one teacher's like, this is exactly where I saw you going in your life. I was like, I would like to go work in the back. Oh yeah. Like I did not have a lot of support for a long time, during that whole time I pursued music. Like I did it all so I could pursue music. And, but I was working the night shift and, this guy, like Bruno one night came out back and started like picking through stuff and like getting peppers out of salad mix bags and got what he wanted, and then he made like a burrito. And I was like,
at McDonald's.
Yeah. And I was like, what are you doing? And he's like, it's a night shift. We can do whatever the fuck we want. And I was like, uh-huh. Okay. So I started playing around and I started like making stuff that I wanted to eat, which is what it started with. Like no knowledge or anything, just like this, I want to eat these things, I'm going to make this. And I came to the conclusion, I was like, well, I don't hate this. Maybe I could do this professionally. And I applied to 2 schools. I only got accepted to one. And that was Southern New Hampshire University. And then I went from there,
You had a culinary program.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't know how to hold a knife. I didn't know what a stock was. I didn't know anything. And
who was there? Did you work with Patrick Hall? Do you remember him?
That was no. He was with Lakes Region Community.
Oh, he was with
Southern Connecticut.
Southern New Hampshire. Southern New Hampshire. Yeah, in Manchester.
Patrick Hall was here in Laconia.
Okay, that's right.
I know the name. I feel like I've met him a few times.
You probably have. He's pretty active in this.
Yeah, because I met one of my girls that worked for me. She's
super guy, outgoing guy, and he taught, but he since passed away. But
oh yeah, no, I remember. I know exactly who you're talking about.
Super guy.
Yeah. So I mean, I didn't know anybody, and but yeah, culinary school. Went in, and I was 22, and everybody's 18. So it's really easy to be driven when you're 22 and know what you want to do while everybody else is partying. Because I did all that when I dropped out of college. It was a great time to do it. Be a degenerate then.
Yeah. So now you got serious. You're like,
I got
okay,
really
now
serious.
It's my life. This is what I can do.
Yeah, and there was a culinary team. I got on that. My dad wasn't stoked at first, and I had to win him over. And once I won him over, it was over a roast pork loin. Like, he came for a fundraiser, and my job that night was the roast pork loin. And he went and tried everything else before he came to my station. My mom had just had surgery or something. She couldn't be there for a reason. She forced him to go.
This was in college?
Yeah, culinary school.
From your culinary school?
Yeah,
Okay.
she forced him to go. And so he showed up, and you could tell he was, like, not stoked. Like, at least, like, there was decent. So he went and got everything else, and then he came up and got my pork and, like, sat down. And I remember he came back up, and he just looked at me and said, I get it now. I understand.
Really?
Yep. And then he just went back, sat down, got more pork. Because I get it now. And, and I just, he's had pork before. I was like, okay. I remember it exactly.
It's the pork that did it.
Dijon, fresh rosemary, garlic, and Worcestershire rubbed down and roasted. And then we just drained the drippings and turned that into a jus. It was not anything crazy. It's like the stuff that Bobby Flay tells you how to cook on the Food Network.
Yeah.
Like, hey, housewife, house husband, make this. Someone will be happy with it. So I was really shocked that was what won him over. And then after that, he was like, always in my corner. Have you heard of this place? Like, started looking up things.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So let me ask you. What was it? 2-year program, 4-year program? How many years were you in the college?
It was a 2-year program.
2-year program. So you finished up your 2-year program. Now, just at what point, or at any point during this time, did you say to yourself, I want to set my sights on. I want to be a Michelin star. I want to be I want to be this, or I want to achieve this. Did you have? At this point, were you starting to develop
the big eyes?
A plan for
Yeah.
where you're
like
go with all
your
this?
own restaurant or your certain style or...
Well, it's funny because, my second year of culinary school, was the first half of it was amazing, and the second half was really, really rough. So in culinary school, your summer off, they make you do an internship.
Okay.
So
you go work somewhere.
Yeah, and you work. The only stipulation is you have to get paid. Because it used to be you just had to go work, and you'd have to figure out how to live your life and not get paid. But the school had found out that parents weren't psyched that children were going to like work for free.
The labor department probably wasn't excited about that either.
Yeah, no, it's called a stage. There's ways around. So
You're
anyway,
an intern.
You're
them.
an intern, unpaid intern.
Yeah.
So they offered up. You could go work at like Chili's, think of like chain restaurants or summer camps. Those are the options. And I was like, do I have to go work at these places? They said all you need is a paying gig. You figure out where you want. Like I almost landed a job overseas, and they would have.
They would have accepted.
They would have, as long as I got paid, they would have accepted it. However, my first name being Kaylon, I actually got the job, accepted the job, was hired, and my teacher said, "Do they know you're a dude?" And I was like, "Of course they know I'm a guy." And they go, "Do they actually know that you're a guy?" And I said, "Yeah." And he goes, "You should send a message and find out if they know that you're a guy." And I sent a message it was like, "Hey, I'm really psyched. I know the programs. I had like a month before I was supposed to go. It's like really psyched. I just want to make sure you guys are aware that I'm a man." And they said, "We're not hired anymore." They were looking for a female. This is not the first time this has happened in my hiring career. Wow. People have either thought that I was a black guy, a big black guy, or a very petite lady. Those were the two. No one ever expects this.
From Kaylon?
To walk. Kaylon Sweet. The whole thing. Like, no one expects this to walk in. And then this walks in, and they're like...
What? Wait a minute.
Like that. We weren't expecting that. But, so I found out, that I could work anywhere. And I also found out during that year that there was a study abroad program for associate's degree. Which is really unheard of. It's usually junior year. So they had a second year, and you had to be top of your class to get the spot. And I was the top culinary, so I got the culinary spot. So now, after my externship, I'm ready to go to Italy. So my first semester of second year
was in Italy?
Yeah,
wow.
which is why it was amazing. It was in Florence, Italy.
That's where I'm going.
Yeah.
2 weeks.
Amazing. So I applied to. I just looked up online 5-star restaurants in New England, and the only one that came up was the White Barn Inn in Kennebunkport. And so I sent a message like, "Hey, you guys looking to hire? I would love to apply for a job." And they are notorious for hiring. Well, maybe not anymore, but it used to be Johnson & Wales students, or Culinary Institute of America, or at the best schools overseas, which I couldn't tell you. They were all creme de la creme. And I ended up getting the stage. I got the job because I picked peas for 4 hours with a stupid smile on it. As the sous chef said, a shit-eating grin on your face. I went for my exit interview, and I had done a black box, and he tore me apart. It was like, ask for your money back for, whatever they showed you, ask for your money back, because you'll never be a chef. It was one of the most harsh interview I think I've ever had. But still, the whole time, I'm like, because I'm at the show. It's like I'm at this place that no one ever. My teachers told me you're not going to get the job. My teachers told me you're not going to get it. Just enjoy you will not get the job. You're not talented enough. I had one teacher who lives in the area, Steve Owens. The only guy was like, "This I'm going to show you. I'm going to give you a few things. This might help you, but but he didn't say you won't get the job. He says don't expect to get the job." But everybody else you're not going to get the job. So when I got the job, they all were like, "What?" And I was like, "Yeah, I started 3 weeks." And they're like, "You didn't?" I'm like, "Yeah, I got the job." And so I'm working, and they thought, and they're like, "You're just going to be peeling potatoes." No, I'm working the Poissonnier station, the busiest station in this 5-star, 5-diamond restaurant hotel. No one thought that I could do it.
Which hotel again?
White Barn Inn, Kennebunkport, Maine.
Yep.
So I've cooked for. I've never seen them, but I've cooked for Tom Brady. I've cooked for Condoleezza Rice, the Bushes, Danica. I remember Danica Patrick because she came for brunch, and she was the only person that came in. I was the only person working. It was an egg white omelet with spinach and tomatoes. I wanted to punch her in the face because egg white omelet's the worst. And you're working at a place where it has to be perfect. I'm like, ugh. But I digress. So then Italy, and my exit interview, the chef, the sous chef did an exit interview, was pretty kind. The chef, my exit interview as I was leaving, I said thank you for the opportunity, and thanks for taking a shot on a nobody.
Yeah.
And he goes, fuck off. That was my exit interview. Fuck off. And I walked out to my car and I drove home and I washed my clothes and I repacked a bag and I was on a plane to Italy about 16 hours later.
Huh.
So then I'm in Italy and once again I'm from nowhere. We're not a rich family, we're not a poor family. We're that family that no one wants to read a book about. Right? You're like, no one sits down and says,
anyway.
Not yet. I think you're writing a book.
well, no.
This is great.
No one sits down and goes, you know what? I want to read a book about like a standard life in the suburbs. This is an intriguing read. Like, no one wants to watch that show. Like,
So let's step. Believe it or not, an hour goes really quickly.
oh yeah,
So
yeah,
we gotta
yeah.
get
Well,
we gotta cover
and
some more ground.
I'm not going to just look at this.
No,
and
go
smell
dig
this
in.
anymore. So
that's
tell me about this and
That's
how
the
do
curry. So these are some of the components on one of the dishes that we'll be doing called Dreaming of Curry. It's going to be a dinner dish. So that's the curry sauce, like curry silk.
Yeah.
Pickled grapes, and then a parsley chutney. And then I just took some of the naan that you guys have been using for flatbreads. So like this would be like kind of how you traditionally have curry. Get the naan,
Yep,
scoop,
yep.
eat.
Yeah.
So like it's gonna have like the spice notes from the curry. But the acidity is gonna cut through any of the fattiness. But then the parsley chutney is gonna like be bright. So it's a whole just array of flavors. It's a lot. So that's why I like curry.
I gotta say, this is maybe an inappropriate time within this conversation, but I gotta say, so you've only been here for a few days. You've only been, you started really tearing into the kitchen yesterday for the first time.
Yeah, it's been like two official days.
Yeah. So I come down. I've been in a meeting, and I come down at 4 o'clock, and I've got to get ready for this show. We're gonna get ready to put the show on, and Kaylon, and I'm with somebody who had the meeting, and Kaylon yells from the kitchen, "Hey, bring your friend in here." So I was like, "Well, Jonathan, you want to go?" Yeah. So we go into the kitchen, and before I know it, I've got like 10 different flavors in my mouth. I've got all these combinations of things, and it was exciting. I was like, "Oh my God, you were going 100 miles an hour. I couldn't keep up with you."
Yeah.
It's
And the
fun to do
flavors
it.
and the tastes and the things that were going into my mouth. I was like, "Wow,
Well-
are we?"
So
where
this
am
is-
I?
this is the
Did I
kind
click
of
my
stuff
heels or something? And
Well, it's like
That's
the last night when we were downstairs and like
Yeah.
how everybody tastes differently.
Yeah.
So like the carrot emulsion, Kyle, sous chef, he tried it and he just goes, "Oh," it's like what? He's like, "It tastes like a marshmallow." Now everybody else tasted it and no one was like, "This tastes like," but for him, the
tastes like
flavors
marshmallow.
and the textures and everything's like, "This tastes like a freaking marshmallow."
Yeah.
Like it's cool. Like, and it's really fun to. I just get excited. I won't eat throughout the day. Like there's the joke that like, hi, I'm a chef. Of course, when I get home, I'm eating a Celeste $1.49 frozen pizza that's been microwaved too hot with Frank's Red Hot and Hidden Valley Ranch. Like it's like you're like haha, like no, that's real. That's like all
You've
day.
been cooking all day.
Yeah, I mean, like,
Yeah,
I love
make
to
a
taste
difference.
everything, but, like, on a day that, like, all day, at the end of the day, I'm like, I would love to say that I really want to have, like, a bowl of curry and all that stuff, but, like, to be honest, I'm excited to finish off the second half of the Ben & Jerry's tub. I'm going to get some soda water on the way home, and that's just what sounds good. It's, like, weird. Like, you would think I'd go home and be like, oh, I'm going to have, like, some foie gras and French toasters. Like, no, it's like, I'm going to eat garbage.
Yeah.
I want to go home and eat trash food, and if I can do it properly, then everybody wins.
It is. This is amazing.
Does it taste
This
good?
is-
it's
Yeah.
amazing. I feel so sorry for all those people who have to sit here.
You don't have to feel sorry because in a
So
few
they're gonna
days you're going to be able to get
come there
this.
and get this.
And this is going to have the things that are missing on it because we just didn't get to it today. And I got to talk to you before we go because we got to get some sausage from Birch Rice Farm. So this is going to be the Birch Rice Farm sweet Italian sausage meatballs. With this,
With
there's
the
going to
curry.
be and then for the rice component, like because there should be a starch, we're taking Rice Krispies, and we're toasting them up in chili
Did
oil.
you try the Rice Krispies?
I did.
Well, so there's the Rice Krispie treat,
Oh yeah.
and then there's the Rice Krispies.
I know. It's
Yeah,
good.
so this is gonna have
It's-
chili oil seasoned Rice Krispies.
Is that hot sauce that I tried going to be?
So the hot sauce is on a dish called Bullet Train to Nashville. So Ben, has Ben ever been on the show?
I bet, yes, he has.
All right, so if you know Ben, Ben's from the South, Ben lived in the South for a while, and we had a big conversation about this dish, and he's like, "I'm really happy you didn't call it a Nashville chicken." He goes, "It's a play, but you didn't say it was a Nashville hot chicken." I was like, "Yeah, because it's not a Nashville hot chicken." And he goes, "There's nothing worse than going out to get a Nashville hot chicken. It's the Nashville, just fried chicken dipped in Frank's Red Hot." I'm like, "Yeah, that's a buffalo chicken sandwich." Like a Nashville hot chicken sandwich is the chili oil, like. So we're gonna be pickle brining the chicken thighs. Like there's a lot on the back end. So like the front end's really quick, like good flavors. But I'm psyched about this because there's so many different. Like the first dish is definitely more like modern American. There's French influences. That's the Quack Attack. Like the name is not modern. The name is just me being stupid. But it's duck with carrots, and like it's a very like thought out but pieced together dish. And then the next dish is like Italian, but like if your chubby trashy Italian boyfriend made you dinner, it's carbonara, but it's being finished with like potato chips, right? Like, and then there's an Asian dish, and then there's a play on. I would never say this is Indian. Right. If someone who was Indian came and tried this and said it was very tasty, and it made them think of Indian.
This is what I was going to say, because my wife is half Indian, her father's from India, and food is central to everything that goes on. And this fits right in with some of the dishes that get passed around the table when we're eating with all of her relatives. And it's flavorful, it's exotic, it's super tasty, and you end up hurting yourself because you eat too much.
Well, and you can't get anything like this.
And you can't get anything like that.
Closest you can get is Manchester, and it's in a strip mall, and it's the fucking best. So like when I get it, I order. It's like when you order Chinese food or Japanese food, count the amount of fortune cookies that are in your bag. That's how many people they think you're feeding. I generally get anywhere from 8 to 12 fortune cookies every time I do a takeout order. To tell you something about what I ordered, right? But then Indian food, it's the papadons.
Yeah.
How many papadons do you get in your? Like the last time I ordered, I got a whole separate bag of papadons, like a grocery store paper bag
full of papadon.
It was just like this fucking big, like papadons, and they're like, "You're feeding an army." I'm like, "No, it's just me. I just like choices."
So I got to ask you. So you're growing up. You're going through these changes in your life. You're going through culinary school. You go to Italy. You ultimately graduate from culinary school.
Went through puberty, shaved for the first time. Yeah.
Well, no, but clearly you're very confident, and rightfully so, about what you're doing today. When did that happen? When did you decide I got this?
Well, you asked before, like the plan, right? So in culinary school, at the end, they go, plan out in 5 years, right? Like, what's your 5-year plan? Then what's your 10-year plan? Then what's your 15 and 20, right? Like, so when I graduated culinary school, I was 24, and I said by the time I'm 29, I would like to be a sous chef of a place. Like 5 years working in the industry, I want to be a sous chef. And I hit that. I remember I hit that goal at 27, 28. So I was like a year early. I was like, great. By the time I was 34, I said, by the time I'm 34, I don't want to own. I just want to be a head chef of the place. But by the time I was 34, I was hitting goals that I had set for myself for like when I was 45, 50. Yeah. Like at 34. I'm now like part owner, full owner of Poggio's. I'm the head chef, and I'm like, oh, like, what? And I never thought past that. I'm like, what do I? Now I gotta refigure 5-year plans. But they don't tell you is like when you refigure 5-year plan, it's like you can just start all over. But that's what's great about this. Like I'm like, yeah, I'm starting fresh. Take all of the things that I've learned and apply it to what I'm doing and how I want to move forward.
That's what seems really exciting about this. To me, the there's certain things that have happened to Bob and I in our lives, in our time together, in this business and elsewhere, where there's like a convergence that's beyond your control. It just shows up. They're just different things that happen, and you're like, well, this seems a little bit too good to be true. How does this work? How does this come together? And it happens, and it takes off, and then you look back and you go, wow, look at this. We have a loft. Here's this thing. And 5 years ago, this was kind of a dream, and not really knowing if that would come to fruition or not.
And I should also add, I challenge you to sort of share when you thought, or if you had a plan in culinary school for where this was going to take you. But remind you, I went to art school
40 years ago?
And now I own a winery, I'm a partner
in New
in
Hampshire.
In New Hampshire. And I don't know where the art school, I kind of have some ideas about where it fit in, but trust me, I had no idea.
Oh, yeah.
Somebody asked me, so when you were in college and you were thinking about your future, what did you have in mind?
Well, that's why I dropped out originally. I was a marimba performance major.
Marimba?
Yeah.
Marimba?
Giant xylophone.
Really?
That was my major.
Wow.
Like, that's what I
Why
went.
Did you pick that instrument?
I was a percussionist, and I liked and I was a musician, and no one was doing it. So it's like, okay, there's no competition.
Yeah.
I mean, I practiced 8 hours a day on top of a full class load, like every day.
What's the other name for xylophone? That's not marimba.
There's xylophone, vibraphone. Vibraphone, and I did vibraphone, jazz.
We have a jazz vibraphone player that plays here every now and then. You got to come for that.
It's
show.
amazing.
It's
amazing. I mean, like that's what and I remember at the end of my first year, that's when like my private instructor and I were talking, and he was like, and he took me under his wing because he was a marimba performance guy, but he was back in school to become an architect. And this is the last words he said to me was like, "You're really good, and you have potential to be great, but are you ready to go work at McDonald's between gigs? Because that's what it takes to pursue this. And if you're ready to do that, then sign up for 4 more years, get $80,000 to $120,000 in debt, and then go live at your parents' house and work at McDonald's in between. And if you want to do that, that's what it's going to cost."
Right.
And that's something that I think when it comes to chasing your dreams, like, and I try to say this to young cooks and anybody, like, chasing what you want in life, there's a cost. Like the people who just.
It's a good point.
Yeah, I mean, like, to do what you want, there's a cost. Like, and
Are
so.
you ready to pay that cost?
Yeah, and I was like, and I wasn't. I mean, literally, the minute we finished the conversation, I remember in the quad, I got up. I didn't know what the bursar's office was, but on my way, I talked to people on my way back to my dorm. Where do you go to drop out of college? And they told me, and I just went there, and I dropped out of college. Finished up the semester, I was done. I didn't tell my parents or anything.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm done. Because I decided at that point, if I'm going to pursue something, I loved music, so I was going to pursue music because I loved music. It didn't need to be marimba, like I play guitar, I write songs. That's what I wanted to do. I'm like, I'm going to pursue this. This is what I want to pursue. And I did go live at my parents' house and worked at McDonald's between things. Like everything that this guy said, that the cost of it, I was like, and I gladly was willing to pay that cost to pursue what I wanted. Same with culinary school.
Yeah, that's I mean, that's a difficult path as well.
Yeah.
To be a chef.
Well,
it's not an easy path.
I talk to these young cooks nowadays, and they're like, everyone thinks, people have gotten it through their heads you're not going to be on the Food Network after you graduate, right? Like, people have figured that out. But I'm like, it is, you have to pay your dues. There's time. I mean, I used to work about 100 hours a week, but got paid for 40, right? Like, and no one asked me to come in and put the order away. No one asked me to come in and prep all the stations and make sure everybody was set. Like, I chose to do that because I wanted to be
And
great.
I think that is the natural filtering that takes place in life. Those people that don't have the drive, the passion to persevere and to push through, they fail.
Yeah.
They get partway through. This is too much work. I'm tired of working the night graveyard shift. I'm tired of working so many hours. It just burns them out. They just can't handle it. And other people, they're so driven. They're so into what they're doing. It doesn't really matter. They just push through. You just make it happen.
The only way you fail something is if you don't do anything, right? Like that's the surefire. I want to start a restaurant. I want to have a winery. I want to do these things.
Yeah.
Well, the surefire way to fail is to say you want, but not
actually do it.
Pursue. Yeah. The act of doing is something that I think people don't think about so much anymore. Like, and just constantly being willing to fail. You know, like if everything was so easy right out of the gate, you know, life would be very different for everybody. But like, it's not. Like, you have to be willing to fail. You have to be willing to try a lot of things, you know, and like it's not.
No, I that's why, you know, this is one of those things where there's just this great convergence. The guy, can't remember his name right now. He's one of the reps from Black River, was here this afternoon.
Oh,
and
Dave Hardy.
Dave, and so I interacted with Dave quite a bit, and you know, it was obvious that he knew now that you were here. And I said, yeah, you see that the change we're making. He says, oh yeah, he's a creative guy. And I said, well, I know. He says, you know, he's like really creative. I said, yeah, I get it. We're kind of creative. He's like, he does crazy creative stuff. I said, I know. I think that's what's really going to work out well here, is that we make crazy, wild,
Now we have
creative.
a mad chef in the kitchen and a mad scientist in the cellar.
In the basement.
It's
I mean, it's almost every time. It's just like, we've got so many ideas, so many things that can happen, and you're like we are. You just shoot as high as possible. You may not get there, but there's no way you can get anything done if you don't go.
Somebody taught me this in college. I was driving across country with this guy, super guy. I've looked for him many times. I'd like to see him again, where he ended up. But we were driving across country together. He's a little older than I was, and he said, "Bob, I don't know. And I'm gonna mess up how he said it, but you know, at one point along the road, he said, you know, Bob, you gotta shoot for the moon and hit the barn. You never want to shoot for the barn and trip over the fence getting there.
Yeah.
You know, take the long shot, and you know, you could come up short. That's fine. But if your long shot is already short, yeah, where are you going with that?
Yeah. No, I mean, like,
that's what it is. Yeah. Just whale it. Just smack it all the way out.
We have a question from the audience.
Yeah, sure.
Marika would like to know what you're most excited about with this new fresh start at Hermit Woods.
Great question, Marika.
Oh. I mean, it might not be like I'm just excited that it's new. Like, everything's new. You know, like, I'm excited that I get to, there's challenges already. You know, like, and I mean, like today.
Can't imagine.
Like today,
where you're finding
it's not a full kitchen.
The induction burner came in today.
Yeah.
And I was like,
plug.
And I was talking to Kyle, and I was like, sweet. I was like, original plan. I was like, hopefully it'll show up for Wednesday, and then I'll get up. But everything showed up today. I'm like, hell yeah, we're gonna do this. And like 5 seconds into setting it up, I hear him like a muffled voice looking for the plug. I'm like, what? He pops up. It's the same issue we had with the other one. I'm like, so I crawl down there and I look and I'm like, okay, but we can fix this, right? You know, like, but I was like, already today, I'm like, all right. But I love the challenges, like critical thinking. Like, how do you adjust? How do you fix things as you move forward? You know, like, you have to. I love that. I love problem solving, and I have to chuckle. I chuckle because, like, I think it's very much a fella thing. Like, your significant other says, oh, like, they're complaining to you about their day or something's wrong. And I think most guys want to fix things. Like, and this feeds that. I'm a much better person to be in a relationship when I'm in a kitchen where I have to solve things constantly. Because at the end of the day, I'm going to tell you exactly what you want. Like, oh, that sucks. Like, I'm not going to try to fix your problem unless you ask, you know, because I love the problem solving aspect. You know, like, I love, you know, it excites me. Like, you know,
I think there's a lot to that. Both Ben and I like solving problems, figuring things out, and then that relates to the creative end. So you have in your mind what you want to do. You want to present something. You want to put those stuff together, and it's problem solving.
Yeah.
You know where you want to go.
Yeah.
You're not quite sure how you're going to get there, But you figure if you bring this in and you do this and you do that, eventually you'll probably get pretty close to where you're going for.
Yeah.
And the same is behind the mechanics of what allows you to do this. So for me, making small batches of wine in our backyard years ago together is fun, and then translating that into a business at a larger scale, making lots of stuff, constant challenges to overcome. Bigger tanks, glycol systems, finding the fruit, shipping stuff around, getting a warehouse, driving a forklift, moving, there's just constant challenges to able to actually do what you want to do.
To get to
you want to get to this, or you want to get to that.
Speaking of that,
And yeah.
There you are. I'm going to pass to you because I can't do the weird
So this product, this is the latest vintage of our heirloom hard cider, referred to as Kittens, fondly. And this is a different batch, and we're having it flat. Most of the time it's carbonated.
Yeah, it's actually
But I
surprisingly...
love, because we used to make still ciders when we did this as a hobby, remember?
Apple wine is a still cider, a little higher alcohol.
This last time I had a flat cider, I was living on the island Jersey.
Yeah.
And it was there. We had gone to a cider festival. It was that time of year, and like there was like the sparkling ciders and stuff, but there was there was 3 old dudes, and they had 3 big glass things, and it was just fermented apple juice.
Yeah.
Like, and I remember having it flat, and I was like,
yeah, Ben had never had it flat, and I'm like, I love flat cider. It's just.
It's different.
It's different. It's a different drink.
It's got to be something to do with what you're used to, too. I mean, it takes acclimating through it.
Well, this is like you've talked about the dryness, right? Like this has dryness to it.
Oh yeah.
But I think, like if this was sparkling, I'd want a little bit more sweetness now if it was sparkling. Whereas this, I'm enjoying. It's crushable right now. Yeah. I can enjoy this, and it's the apple notes are there, like the flavors are all there. But I'm not like. I'm not drinking anything like, oh, it needs more sweet. I think this is dialed in perfect. Like I'm really enjoying like the flavor profiles. Yeah. But that's because of the flatness,
Gary Parker says flat cider's the best.
It is. Oh, did I answer Marika's question?
You did, I think.
Okay.
And you have another question. Some folks talked about the fact that our previous menu had gluten-free options.
Yeah.
And somebody earlier on Facebook earlier today, it's actually not here, asked about dairy-free options. Is the menu going to have some
there are some things that
gluten-free
are like,
and vegan.
Yeah, there's some inherently vegetarian. There's some inherently gluten-free. There's some inherently there's just dishes that are set up like that already, and there's ways for us to accommodate for anybody. It's something that as a younger chef, I had a really hard time with accommodating for people. It was a chip on the shoulder. I'm like, this is how it is. As an adult. Well, not that I wasn't an adult. As a more mature adult of the world, if there's a way for me to make something to take care of somebody, then I'm going to do it. But I'll be honest too. There'll be times if someone's like, oh, the carrot puree, for instance, it has butter in it, right? Which is a dairy.
Can you make us a mac and cheese without the cheese?
Yeah, I mean, not. Yeah, I mean, so once again, right? I have a buddy who's vegan, and I just saw him a few days ago. And we went out to a vegan place, and I thought to myself, I'm at this vegan place, I'm going to eat what's here, right? That's why I'm here, right? Is to eat what's here, and I had a vegan steak, egg, and cheese sandwich. Now the steak was seitan.
Seitan. Yeah.
It was fantastic. The cheese was the only thing I was a little Because it was
my daughter's vegan, and
they did a little bit too much to make it like a sharp cheddar. Yeah. I was like, all right, this is a little bit too because of the acidity. But and it was on a bagel. And it was the best bagel ever. And I was like, this is awesome. So I will say, I will do our best to accommodate. And I always, when someone's here, just ask. There's nothing wrong with asking. Mm-hmm. And but I will be honest. Someone's like, hey, can I get the carrot puree but vegetarian? Or vegan. I'll be like, no.
It would kind of be impossible because you'll have created that puree.
Oh yeah, it's the butter.
And
it's got the
it's
butter
already
in
done.
It already.
Right.
Yeah. So I mean,
you have to go do a different option.
Yeah. So I'll do my best to accommodate for somebody, but I'd never know until somebody asked, and that's how it was at Poggio's. People are like, you don't have a vegan dish in the menu. I'm like, yeah, but I have ways to make you a vegan dish because my clientele is not usually vegan. If we find out that everybody that comes in, like let's say 75% of our crowd is vegan,
Right.
and we figure that out,
Figure it
well
out.
then I'm going to go the vegan route.
Right. Based on our sales of cheese and meat charcuterie boards,
Probably not a lot of
probably
like
not,
that, yeah.
not super high.
But yes, we will be working really hard to accommodate.
Yeah.
I must say, it's really amazing. All of you out there and others are soon going to see the menu at this establishment is changing 100%.
You can see the menu if you go to our Facebook page. It's posted there. It's also posted on your Facebook, Kaylon Sweets.
I think so.
And it's posted on our Instagram page. I
Okay.
think it's out there. If it's not out there, just send me a note. I'll be happy to make sure you get
And that's
a
going to
copy.
go on our website.
It's going to go on our website.
Yep.
We got to working out the final.
Yeah, we got to finish that up tomorrow.
Yeah, we're going to get to that.
Yeah.
And it'll be live by Wednesday.
But it is pretty wild. I mean, we've had this food production at our establishment growing, but it started in 2015. And it's been growing ever since. And this is the first time it was a wholesale new stuff.
Like we're dinner. We're gonna have
You know,
brunch.
Dinner.
I'm really
brunch.
stoked for
Dinner,
brunch.
brunch.
Brunch is gonna be fun. 'Cause, who doesn't like biscuits and eggs and bacon
Yeah.
and all that kind
Yeah.
of stuff?
That's great.
It's gonna be tasty.
Yeah.
I'm going to be eating here
I
a
haven't
lot.
seen, so you have a separate brunch menu? I haven't seen a brunch menu.
Yeah,
It's coming.
that's gonna go on the short one.
After we get the other one done.
We'll get the other one done. I'll have that by Thursday. I'll have that like, hey, because then Kyle and I will
Well,
have to prep health brunch
it's-
throughout the
it's-
week.
He operates a lot like me.
Oh, I
You
get
should be
it.
shaking
I
in
get
your
it.
boots.
I'm already. I know. I already get it. Quite all right. You know,
actually, the way you
creative
were-
genius works in its own way.
Yeah.
I've got my own ways. Everybody's got
I
their
think
own
I've
ways.
been training you pretty well though, because you mentioned something earlier that suggested we didn't need a plan. I'm like, Ken doesn't want a plan. Oh my god.
I like not having a plan at times.
It's funny because like I find that like while on the outside it looks like I don't have a plan, I always I'm like Hannibal from the A-Team.
Yeah.
Love it when a plan comes together. It's like like someone's like I'm like yeah the whole time, the whole time.
Yeah.
But I have a hard time explaining my thought process to a lot of people. Someone asked me once, how do you come up with a dish? And like truthfully, like I get hungry and then I write things down. And I can break it down. I've actually once reverse engineered how I came up with a dish, and by the end I was like, I'll never do the reverse engineering. I'm glad that I'm past this. But it was it was years of me just sitting and writing and trying stuff that people are like, no, and I'm like, nah, I think it'll be good.
Yeah.
Something I'll do with young cooks that are trying to learn. I'm like, come up with a dish, anchovies and white chocolate. I need a dish that has anchovies and white chocolate, and you come to me with a pitch on how to do it. It's possible.
It's
I don't
really-
think I'd
I
want
mean,
it.
This is just the beginnings of
Yeah.
what's going to unfold over the next few months. And I have to say, right out of the gate, last night, it's the first time you prepared something for our guests.
Oh yeah.
And I spent 15 minutes with you tasting some of these wines. You took some notes. And then an hour later, you're creating these things out of that food production area that have never come out of that food production area. That somehow went spectacularly with the wine. When I first tasted it, I'm like, this is really yummy, but there's no way that's going with Hermitage, is it? And then you drink the Hermitage, it's like, yeah, it's really
Oh, that was
good.
that was the chicken thing.
That was the chicken
Well,
one.
That was the chicken thing.
And I gotta say, this culminated in last night's event. If you've been paying attention, we had an event last night, small bites and wine tasting in the Barrel Room, which turned out to be an absolutely amazing experience.
We got to do that again.
No,
It was
good
so
time.
fun.
Lots of times.
And Kaylin participated in the beginning of it, and introduced each of the food items that he prepared that day for that event. It was phenomenal. It resulted in a great relationship with our guests, a really interesting conversation down in the cellar, and lots of learning by us and by the guests who participated. So it
It
was
was a
a
fun
really
time.
good experience.
It
We're
was
going to have that again, for sure.
Oh, I think we should.
We
be
should
doing
do it
this.
every month.
Well, I'd like to do a monthly.
Something.
I think we should
wine-
do something like
chef
that.
wine
So,
thing
you know what the best part,
up here.
Kaylin, I have to say, the best part of last night was that we didn't rehearse or talk about anything, and the three of us
No, it's just
delivered an experience to the audience or to the guests that seemed like it had been orchestrated and planned. It was brilliant.
It's just shooting the shit with people that you like to shoot the shit with.
It's
you
the
know?
best.
Like,
That's what we do all the
yeah.
time.
I mean, like, I will say, like, you'll know if I'm uncomfortable, one of two things will happen. I will get very quiet, or I will. It just sounds like you're having a stroke, because I'll just keep the same thing. I'll say the same thing multiple times. Or my favorite is like I'll just like it just happens. But when you're comfortable and you're having conversations, I mean, like it's easy to have conversations about stuff that you enjoy. You know, I often get asked, like, were you a used car salesman? I was like, no. Well, you should have been. I'm like, well, my grandfather was, but I wasn't.
But you're not into used cars. You're into making food.
People ask because, like, when I go out, someone's like, excuse me. When I go out, and someone's like, what should I have? As a business owner at the time, or like as a head chef, like, I should go out and say to you, you should have the filet mignon. It's fantastic. You should get it. It's like a $50 dish. I'm like, that's what you should get. And you should get it with this expensive wine. That's what you should have. I'm not that guy. I go out and people are like, I'm like, fillets sucks. Why would you get if you're going to have steak, have a ribeye.
Yes.
Right? But,
yes.
Right? Like, if that's what's going to happen.
Man.
Yeah, have a ribeye.
Ribeye.
Or whatever. But I go out.
Bone in.
Yeah. I go out and people are like, what should I have? And I'm like, I know this is counterintuitive, but I'm suggesting you should have the cheapest dish on the menu with the cheapest glass of wine.
Yeah.
Oh. And I'm like, no, seriously, that's what I feel like tonight. That's what sounds delicious. But then there's other nights where I'm like, you should have the foie gras special tonight, because that's what I'm jonesing.
Yeah.
You know, like.
Okay, so we have to cut this off. We're actually well over our hour.
Oh,
Really?
wow. Nice.
Already?
Very quickly, yeah. So if you really want to get to know Kaylon Sweets,
Come on in.
you need to come visit us,
I'll
because
be
starting
here.
February 1st, he's going to be here and he's going to be putting food out every day.
Oh, yeah.
Well, not every day, but most days, and eventually every day in some form or another. And so do that. But before we go, is there any parting words that you'd like to offer, or suggestions, or goodbyes to our audience before we go?
Come on in, eat some tasty food. I mean, like,
Yeah.
you know, life's too short to eat crap.
Cheers to that.
Unless you're me at the end of the night, then eat as much crap as you want. You know, but yeah, come on in. I mean, like, come on in, just get to hang. Like, this food and beverage, and this is community building more than anything else. Back to Mariko's question, what am I most excited about?
Yeah.
At Poggio's, the thing that was rough to leave was a community was built, right? Like, people came in that I saw on a regular basis, and then people came in that were all new, but they became a part of the community.
Yeah. That's like our club members.
Yeah, and food and drink,
Helps create
like,
community.
you can be two completely non-agreeable on anything. You can even not speak the same language, but if there's food and drink on the table, there's a conversation happening. There's connection happening.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to see what new connection can happen in a space like this, with beverages like this, with food like we're talking about. That's what I'm probably the most excited about, is community building again. Getting to meet new people. I mean, last night I got to see, like, the Lacey's. They're, you know, sorry for name dropping. If you're watching the Lacey's, it was great to see you last night. But it was so great to see them last night. You know, like, and it's just proof that, like, building community, investing in people is, like, where growth and great things happen. And that's what I'm most excited about.
That is a great way to end this show.
Yeah.
I really appreciate that. So,
Yeah, perfect.
thank you, everybody. We're going to say goodbye.
Cheers,
We'll
everyone.
See you next Monday with a topic of import, I'm sure.
As long as we figure it
until
out
then,
somehow.
Have a great week.
Drink strawberry rhubarb wine.